Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Travel on water propelled by wind or by other means. Act as the navigator in a car, plane, or vessel and plan, direct, plot the path and position of the conveyance. Is anyone volunteering to navigate during the trip? Direct carefully and safely. He navigated his way to the altar. Move with sweeping, effortless, gliding motions. Shreds of paper sailed through the air. An ocean trip taken for pleasure. A large piece of fabric, usually canvas fabric, by means of which wind is used to propel a sailing vessel. Travel on water propelled by wind or by other means. The QE2 will sail to Southampton tomorrow. Any structure that resembles a sail. Travel on water propelled by wind. I love sailing, especially on the open sea. Traverse or travel on, a body of water. We sailed the Atlantic. An act of traveling by water. Travel on water propelled by wind or by other means. A journey to some distant place. Something that serves as a model or a basis for making copies. A program exemplifying a contemplated series, intended to attract sponsors. Someone who is licensed to operate an aircraft in flight. An inclined metal frame at the front of a locomotive to clear the track. Operate an airplane. The pilot flew to Cuba. Small auxiliary gas burner that provides a flame to ignite a larger gas burner. Act as the navigator in a car, plane, or vessel and plan, direct, plot the path and position of the conveyance. A person qualified to guide ships through difficult waters going into or out of a harbor. Change location. Move, travel, or proceed, also metaphorically. We traveled from Rome to Naples by bus. Travel upon or across. Travel the oceans. Undertake a journey or trip. A movement through space that changes the location of something. Self-propelled movement. Make a trip for pleasure. The act of going from one place to another. He enjoyed selling but he hated the travel. Travel from place to place, as for the purpose of finding work, preaching, or acting as a judge. Undergo transportation as in a vehicle. We traveled north on Route 508. The act of traveling from one place to another. Travel upon or across. Undertake a journey or trip. Cause to form a channel. Channelize a stream. Make a channel for, provide with a channel. Channelize the country for better transportation. Direct the course, determine the direction of traveling. Send from one person or place to another. Computer science. A tiny electromagnetic coil and metal pole used to write and read magnetic patterns on a disk. Be in charge of. Who is heading this project? A person who is in charge. The head of the whole operation. That which is responsible for one's thoughts, feelings, and conscious brain functions, the seat of the faculty of reason. I couldn't get his words out of my head. Be the first or leading member of a group and excel. This student heads the class. The educator who has executive authority for a school. The upper part of the human body, or the front part of the body in animals, contains the face and brains. He stuck his head out the window. Travel in front of. Go in advance of others. The procession was headed by John. The part in the front or nearest the viewer. He was at the head of the column. A line of text serving to indicate what the passage below it is about. The heading seemed to have little to do with the text. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. A difficult juncture. Matters came to a head yesterday. Forward movement. The ship made little headway against the gale. Oral stimulation of the genitals. They say he gives good head. A dense cluster of flowers or foliage. A head of cauliflower. The subject matter at issue. Under the head of minor Roman poets. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. The source of water from which a stream arises. They tracked him back toward the head of the stream. A natural elevation, especially a rocky one that juts out into the sea. Grammar, the word in a grammatical constituent that plays the same grammatical role as the whole constituent. A membrane that is stretched taut over a drum. An individual person. Tickets are $5 per head. A projection out from one end. The head of the nail. A rounded compact mass. The head of a comet. A single domestic animal. 200 head of cattle. A user of, usually soft, drugs. The office was full of secret heads. Be in the front of or on top of. The list was headed by the name of the president. Form a head or come or grow to a head. The wheat headed early this year. Nautical. A toilet on board a boat or ship. Remove the head of. Head the fish. Take its rise. These rivers head from a mountain range in the Himalayas. That part of a skeletal muscle that is away from the bone that it moves. The foam or froth that accumulates at the top when you pour an effervescent liquid into a container. The beer had a large head of foam. The front of a military formation or procession. The head of the column advanced boldly. The length or height based on the size of a human or animal head. He is 2 heads taller than his little sister. The pressure exerted by a fluid. A head of steam. The rounded end of a bone that fits into a rounded cavity in another bone to form a joint. The head of the humerus. The striking part of a tool. The head of the hammer. The tip of an abscess, where the pus accumulates. The top of something. The head of the stairs. To go or travel towards. Where is she heading? Usually plural, the obverse side of a coin that usually bears the representation of a person's head. Call heads or tails. An action aimed at evading an opponent. A deliberate coordinated movement requiring dexterity and skill. A move made to gain a tactical end. Act in order to achieve a certain goal. Perform a movement in military or naval tactics in order to secure an advantage in attack or defense. A plan for attaining a particular goal. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. A military training exercise. An action aimed at evading an opponent. A deliberate coordinated movement requiring dexterity and skill. He made a great maneuver. A move made to gain a tactical end. Act in order to achieve a certain goal. He maneuvered to get the chairmanship. Perform a movement in military or naval tactics in order to secure an advantage in attack or defense. A plan for attaining a particular goal. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. A military training exercise. Cause to form a channel. Make a channel for. Provide with a channel. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. Send from one person or place to another. Act in order to achieve a certain goal. Perform a movement in military or naval tactics in order to secure an advantage in attack or defense. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. Be oriented. The weather vane points north. Sail close to the wind. Repair the joints of bricks. Point a chimney. Any of 32 horizontal directions indicated on the card of a compass. He checked the point on his compass. Be a signal for or a symptom of. Her behavior points to a severe neurosis. A specific identifiable position in a continuum or series or especially in a process. A distinct part that can be specified separately in a group of things that could be enumerated on a list. The main point on the agenda was taken up first. An outstanding characteristic. His acting was one of the high points of the movie. A V shape. The cannibal's teeth were filed to sharp points. A contact in the distributor. As the rotor turns, its projecting arm contacts them and current flows to the spark plugs. The dot at the left of a decimal fraction. Direct into a position for use. Point a gun. Indicate a place, direction, person, or thing, either spatially or figuratively. He pointed to the empty parking space. The property of a shape that tapers to a sharp tip. The gun muzzle's direction. He held me up at the point of a gun. A V-shaped mark at one end of an arrow pointer. The point of the arrow was due north. An isolated fact that is considered separately from the whole. A point of information. A wall socket. An instant of time. At that point I had to leave. A very small circular shape. A row of points. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. Give a point to. Intend, something, to move towards a certain goal. A punctuation mark, placed at the end of a declarative sentence to indicate a full stop or after abbreviations. A brief version of the essential meaning of something. Get to the point. A distinguishing or individuating characteristic. He knows my bad points as well as my good points. A geometric element that has position but no extension. A point is defined by its coordinates. A linear unit used to measure the size of type, approximately 1/72 inch. A promontory extending out into a large body of water. They sailed south around the point. A style in speech or writing that arrests attention and has a penetrating or convincing quality or effect. Be positionable in a specified manner. The gun points with ease. Indicate the presence of game by standing and pointing with the muzzle. The dog pointed the dead duck. Mark, a psalm text, to indicate the points at which the music changes. Mark, Hebrew words, with diacritics. Mark with diacritics. Point the letter. 1% of the total principal of a loan. It is paid at the time the loan is made and is independent of the interest on the loan. Sharp end. He stuck the point of the knife into a tree. The object of an activity. What is the point of discussing it? The precise location of something, a spatially limited location. She walked to a point where she could survey the whole street. The unit of counting in scoring a game or contest. He scored 20 points in the first half. Plan and direct, a complex undertaking. Take somebody somewhere. Having no intervening persons, agents, conditions. In direct sunlight. Put an address on an envelope. Specifically design a product, event, or activity for a certain public. Lead, as in the performance of a composition. In a straight unbroken line of descent from parent to child. A direct descendant of the king. Cause to go somewhere. He directed all his energies into his dissertation. In precisely the same words used by a writer or speaker. A direct quotation. Without deviation. The path leads directly to the lake. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. Intend something, to move towards a certain goal. Criticism directed at her superior. Point or cause to go, blows, weapons, or objects such as photographic equipment, towards. Be in charge of. Being an immediate result or consequence. A direct result of the accident. Command with authority. He directed the children to do their homework. Direct in spatial dimensions. Proceeding without deviation or interruption, straight and short. A direct route. Give directions to, point somebody into a certain direction. I directed them towards the town hall. Guide the actors in plays and films. Lacking compromising or mitigating elements, exact. The direct opposite. Moving from west to east on the celestial sphere, or, for planets, around the sun in the same direction as the Earth. Of a current, flowing in one direction only. Direct current. Similar in nature or effect or relation to another quantity. A term is in direct proportion to another term if it increases, or decreases, as the other increases, or decreases. Straightforward in means or manner or behavior or language or action. A direct question. Castrated bull. Be a guiding or motivating force or drive. The teacher steered the gifted students towards the more challenging courses. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. An indication of potential opportunity. Direct oneself somewhere. Use as a guide. They had the lights to guide on. Be a guiding or motivating force or drive. Take somebody somewhere. Something that offers basic information or instruction. Someone employed to conduct others. Someone who can find paths through unexplored territory. Pass over, across, or through. A model or standard for making comparisons. Direct the course. Determine the direction of traveling. A structure or marking that serves to direct the motion or positioning of something. Someone who shows the way by leading or advising. Guide in interplanetary travel. Navigate in space. An ocean trip taken for pleasure. Drive around aimlessly but ostentatiously and at leisure. She cruised the neighborhood in her new convertible. Look for a sexual partner in a public place. Sail or travel about for pleasure, relaxation, or sightseeing. Travel at a moderate speed.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.